Here reality bends to your assumption, and money is no longer your master. It is your reflection. The secret to wealth has never been out there. It has always been within your own self-concept. The world bows to the man who knows who he is. So I ask you, who are you being right now? If you say, I want to be rich, you are speaking from lack. You are announcing that you are not yet that man. But if you say, I am rich, and you feel it is true, then the law begins to move. The unseen forces start aligning. You see, it is not about wishing, it is about assuming. Assumption is the key to creation. You do not become rich by fighting poverty. You become rich by assuming the state of wealth. Even while appearances scream the opposite. Speak to yourself as the millionaire would. Walk as he would walk. Think from his mountain, not from the valley of how. Live in the end. Feel the weight of the pen as you sign that 7-figure deal. Smell the leather in your dream car. Taste the victory. And do not hope for it. Know it. Because when you live in the end, you collapse time. Money does not come to the one who waits. It comes to the one who remembers. The one who wakes up every morning and looks at his empty bank account and still feels like a king. This world is not real in the way you think. It's a shadow, a mirror. It reflects your dominant state. So change your inner conversation. Stop telling stories of struggle. Stop identifying with lack. And instead, repeat this silently. I am already wealthy. I am already chosen. I am already free. Let the world take its time. You don't need its permission. For when you align your imagination with faith, when you believe without proof, when you persist in the assumption of wealth, life has no choice but to yield. Because the formula has never been effort. The formula has never been luck. The formula is you. So wake up today, not as a beggar, not as a dreamer, but as the one who knows he is already the millionaire. To manifest wealth, you must understand that it is not something you chase, it is something you become. This is the cornerstone of all transformation. The great truth that many overlook is this: reality responds not to your actions alone, but to your state of being. Wealth does not flow to the one who works the hardest, but to the one who embodies the truth that he is already wealthy. You must assume the identity of the wealthy man now in this very moment, regardless of your current circumstances. Look around you. What you see is only the residue of your previous states of consciousness. The lack, the limitations, the struggle, they are not permanent. They are echoes, temporary reflections of an old self-concept that no longer serves you. If you wish to change the mirror, you must first change the man looking into it. Do not wait until the money comes to feel secure. Do not delay your confidence until the bank account matches your desire. This is living backwards. In truth, the only reason money hasn't yet arrived is because you have not accepted the identity of the one to whom money naturally flows. You are still playing the role of the becoming instead of the being. And life, being nothing more than a mirror, continues to reflect back to you your waiting, your hoping, your trying. But imagine for a moment that it was already yours. Imagine that the version of you who lives in luxury, who speaks with ease, who gives without counting. Imagine that he is not separate from you. He is you. Not in the future, not when things change, but now. Close your eyes and see him. How does he walk? How does he carry himself? There's no rush in his step, no desperation in his voice. He knows. He trusts. He radiates a calm certainty that money bends to his will, not because he begs for it, but because he knows who he is. And who he is wealthy. This identity is not something earned. It is claimed, chosen, embodied. And when you begin to think from that identity, not of it, not about it, but from it, you step into the creative seat of your life. The outer world, being only an obedient servant of your inner state, begins to mold itself to match the self you have assumed. Do not ask how it will come. That is not your concern. The man who already has it doesn't wonder. He simply moves through life with the assumption that what he needs is already on the way. He trusts that his inner knowing is enough. And it is. When you walk into a room, walk as the one who owns the room, not with arrogance, but with a quiet power. When you speak, let your words come from the belief that you're supported, resourced, and guided. Let your actions spring from the confidence that everything you need is already within. You are not pretending. You are remembering. Remembering who you truly are before the world taught you to doubt it. Before you believed in the false gospel of lack and limitation. You are not becoming rich. You are awakening to the richness that has always been yours by divine right. Assume the identity. Not in theory, not someday, but now. Feel it. Wear it. Sleep in it. Speak from it. And persist in it, even when nothing seems to change. Especially when nothing seems to change. Because in those silent, still moments, the foundation of your new life is being laid. That is the secret, the hidden code, the millionaire manifestation formula. Begins the moment you no longer see wealth as something outside of you, but as something that you already are. And once you claim it, the world will rise up to prove you right. To live in the end is to accept the desire not as a hope or a possibility, but as a fact. It is to move beyond the realm of wishing and into the realm of knowing. There is a profound difference between thinking of your desire and thinking from it. Thinking of it keeps it distant. It creates a gap between you and the thing you long for. But to think from it is to dwell in the state of its fulfillment, to embody the feeling that it is already yours. Your desire exists only in its fulfilled form. That is where it lives. That is where it breathes. To manifest it into your visible world, you must go there first in consciousness. You must visit that version of yourself who is already living the life you are reaching for, and you must stay there, not as a visitor, but as a resident. When you live in the end, you refuse to be swayed by appearances. You no longer consult the outer world for evidence. You stop checking the bank account, the calendar, the phone, because you know that what is real is not what you can currently touch, but what you have accepted in imagination. You see, the imagination is the womb of reality. All things are born there first. The outer world is simply the after effect. It is the mirror, the echo, the reflection of the inner man. And the inner man becomes the outer man when you persist in your assumption. Ask yourself, if it were already done, how would I feel? That is the secret question. That is the sacred doorway into the end. If you had the job, the relationship, the wealth, the health, how would your breath change? How would your posture shift? What conversations would you no longer entertain? What anxiety would dissolve into calm? To live in the end is to answer those questions not with theory, but with practice. It is to adjust your inner state as if the wish had already been fulfilled. When you speak, speak as one who has arrived. When you move, move as one who has no doubt. When you imagine, do not see yourself getting what you want, see from the place of already having it. This may feel unnatural at first. The senses will protest. They will remind you of what is missing. But the senses are not the authority. Your inner conviction is. The moment you choose to believe in the unseen over the seen, you step into your power. You step into alignment with the true creative force within you. The world will tell you to be realistic. But reality is not fixed. It is fluid, and it responds to the dominant assumption. Every great shift begins in someone who dared to ignore the facts and live from the end. Hold the scene in your mind, the one that would naturally unfold after your desire has been fulfilled. Maybe it's a phone call, a thank you note, a peaceful sigh, a look in the mirror. Whatever it is, feel it as real, rehearse it in your mind. Let the tones of reality soak into your being. Let the feeling become familiar, and then live from that place. Let your decisions reflect the end. Let your self-talk reflect the end. Let your energy reflect the end. Do not wait for proof. The proof will come after the assumption, not before. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, silence, the outer noise. The world around you is not the cause, it is the effect. Every fact, every circumstance, every so-called obstacle is merely the shadow cast by your inner state. If you try to change the shadow without changing the light within, you labor in vain. True transformation begins in silence, in stillness, in the quiet command of your own consciousness. The world screams for your attention. It tells you what is possible, what is practical, what is likely. But it knows nothing of the truth you carry within. The moment you allow the noise to dictate your inner dialogue, you surrender your creative power. You become a servant to appearances instead of the master of reality. Ignore the facts, deny the evidence, not in rebellion but in understanding. You're not being reckless, you're being faithful. Faith is not blind, it is visionary. It sees beyond the temporary, beyond the current, beyond what is. It sees what must be because it has been decreed in the unseen. You are not called to react, you are called to command. What are you assuming? What are you entertaining when no one is watching? These silent inner conversations are shaping everything. They are either building your future or repeating your past. You must take authority over them, not with force, but with intention. When fear arises, do not argue with it, replace it. When doubt whispers, do not debate it. Drown it out with the voice of assurance. This is how you silence the noise. Not by wrestling with it, but by turning inward and choosing a different vibration. Your imagination is your sanctuary. Go there often, dwell there deeply. The world cannot reach you in the stillness of your inner vision, and it is from this sacred space that the new world is born. Suppose they say it's impossible. Suppose the numbers don't add up. Suppose the door seems closed. And yet, you have seen it open. You have felt it unfold. You have already experienced it in the realm where all things are created. That knowing is your authority. That feeling is your truth. Let others be ruled by facts. You will be ruled by faith. Let others look outward. You will look within. While they wait for signs, you will be the sign. While they hope for change, you will embody it. And in time, the facts will change. They must. Because the outer world has no choice but to mirror the inner world. If you command peace within, chaos will subside around you. If you dwell in abundance within, supply will find its way to you. If you rest in love within, your relationships will transform. Not because you fought for it, but because you refused to be moved by noise. And that is the key. Stillness. Steady, deliberate stillness. Not passivity, but power. Not inaction, but inner action. You rise in authority the moment you stop seeking validation from the outer world and start governing your inner one. So, silence the noise. When the world says you can't, hear within you, it is done. When it says, look at the facts, say quietly, I look at the truth. And when it screams for your attention, smile and return to your vision. Because in the end, the world will catch up to what you knew all along. And it will do so not because you fought it, but because you ignored it. Until it had no choice but to obey your silence. Emotion is the magnet. It is not the doing, the striving, the constant reaching that brings wealth into your life. It is the feeling, the state of being, the inner atmosphere you carry, moment by moment. Wealth is not earned by effort alone. It is summoned, drawn in, attracted by the emotional climate you maintain. What you feel, you invite. What you persist in feeling, you become. And what you become internally must reflect itself outwardly. This is a law, not a moral one, but a creative one. Your emotional state is the signal you send to the universe, and it never fails to respond. You can work tirelessly, check all the boxes, chase every opportunity, but if you are carrying fear, doubt, anxiety, or lack within you, you will only multiply those states in your outer world. Not because you are being punished, but because life reflects. That's all it knows how to do. To manifest wealth, you must go beyond the surface, beyond appearances. You must sink into the rich, fertile ground of emotion. Begin not with strategy, but with the question, how would I feel if I were already wealthy? Would you wake up with peace in your chest? Would you walk slower? Speak with more confidence, breathe more deeply. Would you laugh more easily, give more freely, expect the best in every moment? That is the feeling you must begin to cultivate now, not when the money arrives, but because you understand it already has, right? Joy is magnetic. Gratitude is magnetic. Certainty is magnetic. These are not just nice ideas, they are tools, instruments of creation. When you live in the vibration of these feelings, you align with the frequency of wealth itself. You tune your inner being to the station where prosperity broadcasts. And the beautiful truth is, you do not need a single change in your external world to feel this way. You can close your eyes, enter the sacred temple of your imagination, and become rich in feeling. You can walk through the corridors of a life you love before the world sees it. And the more real it feels, the faster it appears. You do not need to pretend. You need to assume. There is a vast difference. Pretending implies separation. You act as if. It's true. Assuming makes it so. You know it is already yours. And that knowing creates emotion, and that emotion becomes form. So begin now. Feel the weight of abundance in your hands. Smile as if the news you long for has just arrived. Breathe as if every bill is paid, every need is met, every dream is unfolding in perfect time. Let the emotion rise naturally. Let it take over your being. Make it your practice. Not once but daily, not when convenient, but consistently. Sit with the feeling of financial freedom. Linger in the joy of having more than enough. Let it become familiar, so familiar that it becomes your new normal. Because when that happens, when the joy is no longer tied to the outer result but flows from within, you become unstoppable. You are no longer chasing wealth, you are radiating it. You are no longer asking for it. You are living in it. The world may not respond instantly, that is fine. Do not measure your progress by how fast things appear. Measure it by how deeply you feel. Stay in the state. The state is the cause. The emotion is the invitation. And wealth will answer, not because you worked harder than everyone else, but because you felt it first. You believed first. You rejoiced first. You embodied the vibration of abundance before it had a name or a number. And now it must come. Emotion is the magnet. Feel rich, and you will be. What are you whispering to yourself all day? Not what you say aloud, not what you tell others, but the quiet voice, the hidden stream of thought that flows beneath every action and decision. That voice creates worlds. It is not neutral. It is not idle. It is the architect of your reality. You may think your outer conditions are shaped by effort, by action, by chance. But long before you ever move your hand, you have moved your mind. And the movement of your mind, your inner conversation, is the true creator. It is this internal dialogue that sets the tone for your life. If your whispers are laced with lack, I can't afford that, money doesn't come easily to me, I'm not where I should be, then you are rehearsing poverty. You are not merely expressing a belief. You are reinforcing it, energizing it, giving it breath and form. And what you repeat, you make real. But this law works both ways. Just as a constant inner dialogue of lack produces more of the same, a persistent conversation of abundance must yield wealth, not as a reward, but as a reflection. Not as something earned, but something mirrored. You must become aware of your inner language. You must watch it as you would a garden, pulling weeds the moment they appear. When you catch yourself speaking limitation, do not condemn yourself, correct yourself. Interrupt the old script. Replace it with truth. Speak abundance. Speak prosperity. Speak as if money loves you, as if success follows you, as if the universe is conspiring to bless you at every turn, not out of arrogance, but out of alignment. Not to convince the world, but to convince yourself. Because the world listens to you through your state. It does not respond to begging. It does not respond to desperation. It responds to the certainty of your inner being. And certainty is built through repetition. Through the gentle, unbroken rhythm of a prosperous internal conversation. Talk to yourself the way a wealthy person would. What would they say when bills arrive, when opportunities arrive, when facing a challenge? They would say, I always find a way. Resources flow to me easily. Every situation turns in my favor. That voice must become yours. Let your self-talk be rich in tone, not just in words. Feel the truth of what you say. Don't just recite affirmations. Inhabit them. Let your inner dialogue be laced with conviction, with ease, with joy, and persist. Not for a moment, not just when you feel good, but especially when you don't. Every word you repeat to yourself takes root. Every assumption you accept becomes a law in your world. And with persistence, even the most deeply embedded belief can be rewritten. This is not fantasy, it is mastery. The mind is not your enemy. It is your tool. Use it, train it, guide it gently into new terrain. Say to yourself, I am wealthy now. Money is my friend. Opportunities appear effortlessly. Let it become second nature. Let it become your default tone. And when the inner voice wants to return to the old, stop. The conversation within you is not private. The universe hears it, and it obeys it. So whisper well. Speak the truth of who you want to be, and persist until the whisper becomes your world. The world around you is nothing but a shadow, an echo of your inner vision. It bends, molds, and reshapes itself according to the images you hold faithfully in your imagination. There is no greater power than the one you wield in silence, behind closed eyes, where the scene is born. You are not at the mercy of the world. The world is at the mercy of your mind. It is clay, soft, pliable, formless, until you give it shape in imagination. Every object, every circumstance, every relationship began as an idea in someone's mind. And so it is with you. Nothing will appear in your life unless it is first permitted, accepted, and nurtured within you. The soul rests in faithful imagination, not in scattered wishes, not in restless hoping, but in clear, unwavering, confident seeing. See what you desire with vivid detail. Enter that scene as if it were already unfolding. Touch the walls of your new home in your mind. Hear the voice of someone congratulating you. Smell the leather of your new car. Taste the joy of freedom. You are not pretending. You are selecting. And once you have selected, rest in it. Do not dig up the seed with doubt. Do not question how or when or through whom it will come. The mechanism is not your concern. Imagination takes care of the details. Your only duty is to remain faithful to the end you have chosen. Faithful imagination is not occasional fantasy. It is devotion. It is the quiet conviction that what you see within is more real than what you see without. It is the ability to stay rooted in your vision while the world still looks unchanged. Because the moment you alter your inner state, you alter the world that must come. There is no effort in this rest. There is no strain in this work. True imagination is restful, not restless. You are not forcing outcomes. You are allowing them. You are becoming a channel through which your chosen vision flows into form. And the clearer you see it within, the quicker it hardens into fact. Do not wait for evidence to believe. Create the evidence through belief. The world is slow to respond to the one who doubts, but quick to obey the one who sees clearly. What you imagine with feeling and sustain with trust must appear. That is the law. You do not need the permission of the world to create your reality. You only need to grant yourself the authority to imagine boldly. Stop seeking signs outside yourself. The sign is your own vision. If you have seen it in the mind, it already exists. It is done. Rest there. Return often. Whenever the noise of the world attempts to sway you, go back within. Close your eyes. Re-enter your chosen scene. Let it become so natural that you begin to forget what the old reality looked like. Lose interest in the facts that deny your vision, and invest all your emotion in the world you are building inside. This is not denial, it is creation. You are not escaping life, you are commanding it. And the one who commands reality is the one who has learnt to live from the unseen rather than the seen. So let imagination be your sanctuary. Let it be the womb of your future. Guard it, protect it, revisit it until your entire being is saturated with the feeling that what you desire is already yours. And then watch. Not with anxiety, but with quiet knowing. The world will shape itself around your inner image. The scene you repeated in silence will rise up in front of your eyes. Not because you struggled, but because you believed. The world is play in the hands of your imagination. Shape it wisely and rest, not in worry, but in the certainty that what you have imagined in truth must become your life. Everything begins and ends in the mind. The formula is not out there. It has always been within you. You do not become a millionaire by chasing money, but by embodying the wealth within. You assume the identity, live in the end, silence the noise, ignite the right emotions, persist in inner truth, and rest faithfully in your imagined reality. This is not magic, it is law. The world does not respond to effort alone, it yields to consciousness. You are the cause. The inner man, unseen by the world, shapes every circumstance, every dollar, every door that opens. You do not wait for wealth to feel rich. You feel rich. And wealth obeys. Let no outer fact discourage you. Let no voice of doubt linger longer than a breath. Hold the vision. Trust the unseen. Speak the language of abundance and make it your native tongue. This is your invitation to stop striving and start selecting, to stop begging and begin believing. Life will match the tone of your inner world. Set it high, set it boldly. Set it now. Thank you for receiving these words, not with your ears, but with your spirit. May you walk from this moment not as one seeking, but as one who knows. The formula is within, and your wealth has already begun.
Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a world obsessed with expression. We tweet, we post, we talk, and we seek validation in endless forms. Yet, there is a profound truth often overlooked: happiness does not require an audience. It flourishes unshaken in silence. When we are truly happy, it is in our best interest to simply shut up. In a world that constantly encourages us to share, express, and externalize our experiences, the concept of silence may seem foreign, especially when it comes to happiness. Society often teaches us that when something good happens, it's only real when we tell others about it, when we post, tweet, or share it in conversation. But there is a profound truth that many overlook: silence, especially in moments of happiness, holds immense power. When we learn to be quiet in our joy, we discover that the feeling becomes richer, deeper, and more enduring. Happiness is an internal state, an emotion that arises from within, and in its purest form, it needs no external validation. Often, the moment we speak about our happiness, we are seeking some form of approval or acknowledgement from others. We want people to notice our joy, to affirm it, to celebrate it with us. But this very act of seeking external validation can dilute the essence of that happiness. The joy, which was once a pure, internal experience, becomes mixed with the ego's need for attention, recognition, or approval. In that moment, the happiness starts to shift from being something we feel within ourselves to something we need others to validate. There is a profound power in allowing happiness to exist without announcing it. When we keep our joy to ourselves, it becomes more intimate, more personal. It's as though the joy deepens because we are not scattering it by sharing it with the world. Silence allows us to savor the moment fully. We become more aware of the nuances of our happiness, the way it feels in our body, the subtle shifts in our mood, and the calmness that comes with contentment. By not speaking of it, we allow the feeling to fully saturate our being, to settle into us in a way that words often disrupt. Moreover, silence in joy is not just about avoiding the need for validation. It is about preserving the energy of that happiness. Every time we speak, we use energy. We project outwardly and disperse what is within. When it comes to joy, talking too much about it can sometimes dissipate the very energy that sustains it. By keeping silent, we conserve that energy. We allow it to grow, to expand within us, and to radiate more powerfully than words ever could. This quiet form of happiness is often the most profound because it is not reliant on anything external. It simply is. Silence also fosters a deeper connection to the present moment. When we are silent in our happiness, we are more present with it. We are not thinking about how to describe it or how to convey it to others. We are not worried about how it will be received or whether others will approve. We are simply being. In that state of being, we are fully immersed in the experience of joy. It is undiluted, untouched by external forces. This presence allows us to feel happiness more intensely and for a longer duration. It is no longer a fleeting moment, but an ongoing state that we can tap into whenever we choose to remain silent and present. Another benefit of silence in joy is the strength it gives to our inner being. When we can hold on to happiness without the need to share it, we strengthen our inner foundation. We become less dependent on external factors for our happiness. We realize that true joy comes from within and does not need external affirmation. This independence from outside validation makes our happiness more resilient. It becomes less vulnerable to the ups and downs of life because it is not tied to others' opinions or reactions. In learning to embrace silence in moments of happiness, we are not denying ourselves or others anything. Instead, we are giving ourselves the gift of deeper contentment. We are allowing our joy to exist in its most natural form without needing to prove it, share it, or seek validation for it. And in doing so, we find that our happiness becomes more authentic, more grounded, and more lasting. Silence, then, is not the absence of expression, but the most powerful expression of all. It allows joy to speak for itself. In our daily lives, many of our actions, thoughts, and words are often driven by a subtle, almost invisible force, the need for approval. This need stems from the ego, that part of us that craves recognition, validation, and attention. Whether we realize it or not, much of what we do, whether it's sharing an achievement, expressing our opinions, or even showcasing our happiness, is influenced by the ego's desire to be acknowledged by others. However, true fulfillment, especially in moments of joy or success, comes not from seeking external approval, but from quieting the ego and finding contentment within. The ego constantly wants to be seen, heard, and validated. It tells us that our happiness is incomplete unless others notice and affirm it. This is why people often feel compelled to share their accomplishments, their happy moments, or even their thoughts and opinions with the world. It's not necessarily that we want to show off, but there's a deeper drive within us, the ego's need to be validated by external sources. It thrives on the responses it gets, whether it's praise, admiration, or even envy from others. But this pursuit of approval is a trap. It takes us further from the real essence of joy and fulfillment, making our happiness dependent on external factors that are beyond our control. When we rely on external validation to affirm our worth or happiness, we place our sense of self in the hands of others. Our joy becomes fragile, easily influenced by the opinions, judgments, or reactions of those around us. If people respond positively, the ego is satisfied temporarily. But if they don't, or worse, if they criticize or dismiss us, it can shatter our sense of contentment. This dynamic reveals the underlying problem: the happiness we seek through external validation is never stable, never truly secure. It is always vulnerable to the shifting tides of other people's perceptions. Moreover, the ego's need for approval often prevents us from fully enjoying our own successes or moments of happiness. Instead of simply being present in the moment and allowing ourselves to feel the joy, we get caught up in thoughts of how others might perceive it. We begin to think about how we can present our happiness in a way that will impress others, or how we can shape our success to make it more admirable. In this process, the pure, unfiltered joy that we initially felt becomes diluted. The moment is no longer just about us and our personal experience, it becomes about how others will respond to it. True contentment, however, doesn't seek approval from the outside world. It arises from a deep sense of inner satisfaction, from knowing that our worth is not dependent on how others perceive us. When we cultivate this inner sense of fulfillment, we become less concerned with whether others recognize or validate our happiness. We realize that our joy is enough in itself. It doesn't need to be broadcasted or endorsed by anyone else. This inner contentment is self-sufficient. It is not shaken by criticism, nor is it inflated by praise. It simply is. Learning to avoid the ego's need for approval requires a shift in perspective. It involves recognizing that seeking validation from others is not only unnecessary but can also be detrimental to our sense of peace and happiness. We must learn to trust in our own experiences and feelings without needing them to be affirmed by anyone else. This doesn't mean we can't share our joys or accomplishments with others. It means we no longer share them from a place of seeking validation. Instead, we share them because we are already content within ourselves, and the sharing becomes a way of expressing that contentment, not a way of seeking approval. When we stop feeding the ego's need for approval, we find a deeper sense of freedom. We are no longer tied to the reactions of others, no longer swayed by their opinions. Our happiness becomes more authentic, more grounded in who we are rather than in how we are perceived. This freedom allows us to experience life more fully, without the constant need to measure ourselves against others' expectations. We begin to understand that true joy comes from within, and that it cannot be amplified or diminished by anyone else's recognition. In this quiet space, free from the ego's demands, we find peace. We no longer need to prove anything to anyone. We no longer need to seek approval or validation from the outside world. Our happiness is complete as it is, untouched by the judgments or opinions of others. And in this state of inner fulfillment, we discover that the greatest validation we can receive is the simple knowing that we are enough, just as we are. In the process of manifesting our desires, one crucial yet often overlooked aspect is the conservation of energy. Every thought we think, every word we speak, and every action we take requires energy. When we focus on a goal or intention, we are essentially directing our energy toward manifesting that outcome. However, the way we manage and conserve this energy can significantly impact how quickly or effectively our desires come into reality. To manifest effectively, it is essential to understand the importance of energy conservation and how to channel it toward what we truly want. At its core, manifestation is the process of turning thought into reality. This process requires focus, intention, and energy. When we visualize what we want or affirm our desires, we are sending out vibrational signals that align us with the experiences we wish to create. But if our energy is scattered, if we're constantly talking about our plans, sharing our goals prematurely, or doubting ourselves, we weaken that vibrational signal. Instead of building momentum toward manifestation, we are dissipating our energy and slowing down the process. One of the most common ways people dissipate their energy is through excessive talking. When we talk too much about our plans, dreams, or desires, we spread the energy outward instead of focusing it inward. While it may feel satisfying to share our intentions with others, doing so can dilute the potency of our manifestation process. This is because every time we speak about something, we use up energy that could otherwise be directed toward actualizing the desire. Words are powerful, but they must be used wisely. Speaking too soon or too frequently about a goal before it has fully manifested can actually diminish the strength of our intention. When we conserve our energy by maintaining silence or being selective about when and with whom we share our desires, we create a powerful reservoir of focused intent. Instead of dissipating energy by seeking external validation or approval, we allow it to accumulate within us. This creates a stronger vibrational signal that aligns us more directly with the outcome we wish to manifest. Silence, in this sense, becomes a tool of power, allowing us to hold on to our energy until the right moment presents itself for action or expression. Another way energy is lost during the manifestation process is through doubt and negative thinking. When we second-guess our ability to manifest or entertain thoughts of failure, we are not only lowering our vibrational frequency, but also wasting energy on resistance. Every moment spent in doubt or fear is a moment when our energy is being drained away from our goals and directed toward obstacles. To conserve energy for manifestation, it is important to cultivate a mindset of unwavering belief and trust in the process. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges or pretending that doubts don't exist. It means choosing to redirect our focus toward what we want, rather than what we fear. Conserving energy also involves maintaining clarity of intention. When we are clear about what we want, we are better able to focus our energy on manifesting it. But when we are unclear, indecisive, or constantly changing our minds, we spread our energy thin. But the universe responds to clarity and consistency. When we send mixed signals, our energy becomes fragmented, and so does the manifestation process. By staying focused on a clear vision, we allow our energy to flow directly toward the fulfillment of that vision. Lastly, energy conservation for manifestation involves creating space for rest and reflection. Manifestation is not about constantly pushing or forcing things to happen. It's about aligning with the natural flow of energy and allowing things to unfold in their own time. When we overexert ourselves mentally, emotionally, or physically, we deplete our energy reserves, making it harder to sustain the high vibrations needed for manifestation. Taking time for stillness, rest, and self-care allows us to recharge and restore our energy so that we can continue to move toward our desires with strength and clarity. Energy conservation is a fundamental principle in the manifestation process. By being mindful of how we use our energy, whether through words, thoughts, or actions, we can ensure that we are channeling it effectively toward the realization of our desires. Speaking less, focusing more, maintaining belief, and allowing space for rest all contribute to the powerful accumulation of energy needed for successful manifestation. When we conserve and direct our energy wisely, we become aligned with the flow of creation, making the journey of manifestation smoother, faster, and more fulfilling. In the realm of personal growth and manifestation, much emphasis is placed on raising one's vibration. However, the true mastery lies not just in raising it, but in learning the subtle art of holding it. Holding your vibration means maintaining a consistent energetic state, even in the face of challenges, distractions, or external circumstances. It's about nurturing an internal stability that allows you to stay aligned with your desires, goals, and higher self, no matter what is happening around you. Every thought, emotion, and action carries a specific vibration. When we are in a high vibrational state experiencing emotions like love, joy, gratitude, or peace, we are aligned with the energies that naturally attract abundance, well-being, and fulfillment. But holding this state requires awareness, discipline, and practice. It's not enough to feel good once in a while to truly harness the power of high vibration. We must learn to sustain it over time. One of the first challenges people face in holding their vibration is the influence of external conditions. It's easy to feel good when things are going well, but what happens when life throws obstacles in the way? A sudden disappointment, a difficult interaction, or a stressful situation can easily lower our vibration if we allow it to. The key to holding your vibration is learning to detach from external circumstances and maintain your inner equilibrium. This doesn't mean denying reality or ignoring challenges, but rather choosing not to let them dictate your emotional state. One powerful way to hold your vibration is through conscious focus. Where you place your attention has a direct impact on your energy. If you focus on what's going wrong, on negative outcomes, or on fear and doubt, your vibration will naturally drop. However, by consciously directing your focus toward what you want, your goals, your desires, your dreams, you can maintain a higher vibrational state even in difficult moments. This requires mental discipline, as the mind tends to gravitate toward problems and negativity. Now, by training yourself to focus on the positive aspects of any situation, or on what you are grateful for, you can keep your energy aligned with higher frequencies. Emotional resilience is another crucial aspect of holding your vibration. Life will inevitably bring ups and downs, but how we respond to these fluctuations determines the vibrational state we maintain. Instead of being reactive to every situation, practice becoming the observer of your emotions. When something negative arises, notice it, acknowledge it, but don't attach to it. Allow the emotion to pass through you without resisting or amplifying it. This ability to observe your emotions without becoming consumed by them is one of the most effective ways to hold your vibration, as it prevents emotional lows from taking root and pulling you out of alignment. Additionally, self-awareness plays a vital role in maintaining a high vibration. Pay attention to your internal dialogue, your habitual thoughts, and the stories you tell yourself. Are they empowering or disempowering? Positive or negative? By becoming more aware of your inner narrative, you can make conscious choices to shift any limiting thoughts that might be lowering your vibration. Holding your vibration is about creating an inner environment that supports your well-being, regardless of what's happening externally. Another important aspect of this art is consistency. It's not enough to meditate once a week or practice gratitude sporadically. Holding your vibration requires consistent effort. Just as physical fitness comes from regular exercise, maintaining a high vibration comes from daily practices that support your energy. This might include meditation, gratitude journaling, visualization, or spending time in nature. Whatever helps you feel aligned, joyful, and peaceful should be incorporated into your daily routine. Consistency builds momentum, and that momentum helps sustain your vibrational state over the long term. It's also essential to understand that holding your vibration is not about perfection. You will have moments when your energy dips, and that's okay. The goal is not to force yourself to be positive all the time, but to develop the resilience and awareness to bring yourself back to a high vibrational state when you notice your energy starting to drop. Over time, the practice of returning to alignment will become more natural, and the periods of low vibration will become less frequent and less intense. Ultimately, the subtle art of holding your vibration is about mastering your inner world. It's about taking responsibility for your energy and learning to sustain the emotional, mental, and spiritual states that align with your highest good. When you hold your vibration, you create a magnetic field that naturally attracts the experiences, people, and opportunities that resonate with your highest self. This practice empowers you to remain grounded in your truth, regardless of external circumstances, allowing you to manifest your desires with greater ease and flow. True contentment is not something that can be given, found, or achieved through external sources. It is self-sufficient, arising from within. In a world where happiness is often pursued through material gains, relationships, or the approval of others, the notion of self-sufficient contentment seems elusive. Yet the deepest form of fulfillment comes when we stop looking outside ourselves for satisfaction and instead cultivate a sense of inner peace and completeness. This kind of contentment does not rely on the ever-changing circumstances of life. It is constant, steady, and enduring. One of the most significant challenges to true contentment is the belief that happiness is something we must acquire. We are often conditioned to think that we will be content once we achieve certain goals, own particular possessions, or are in the right circumstances. We think once I have that job, that relationship, that house, then I will be happy. However, this mindset places our well-being at the mercy of factors outside of our control. The problem with this approach is that external things are impermanent. Even if we achieve what we seek, the satisfaction that follows is often fleeting. The job might not bring as much fulfillment as we thought, the relationship might have its challenges, or the material things might lose their appeal over time. Contentment, when rooted in external conditions, is always fragile. It fluctuates as our circumstances change. If our happiness depends on things outside of ourselves, we are constantly at risk of losing it whenever those things change or disappear. This leads to a cycle of endless seeking, where we are always chasing the next thing, believing it will bring lasting contentment. Yet no matter how much we acquire or achieve, the feeling of completeness remains out of reach, because true contentment cannot be found externally. Self-sufficient contentment, on the other hand, comes from cultivating a deep sense of inner peace. It is the understanding that we are enough as we are, and that we do not need anything outside of ourselves to feel whole. This kind of contentment arises from self-acceptance, gratitude, and the realization that everything we truly need for happiness is already within us. It is not dependent on circumstances, but is rooted in a stable, internal foundation. One way to develop this inner contentment is through the practice of mindfulness and presence. When we learn to be fully present in the moment, we realize that there is a simple joy in just being. We are not focused on what we lack or what we need to acquire. We are simply aware of what is, here and now. This awareness brings a sense of peace because it takes us out of the constant striving and into the experience of the present moment. In that space, we realize that we don't need to change anything to feel content. We can be content right now, just as things are. Gratitude is another key to self-sufficient contentment. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we shift our mindset from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude allows us to appreciate the small moments, the simple pleasures, and the things we often take for granted. By cultivating gratitude, we train ourselves to see the richness of life as it is, rather than always focusing on what's missing. This shift in perspective helps us feel more fulfilled and content with what we already have, reducing the need to seek contentment from outside sources. Self-acceptance also plays a crucial role in developing self-sufficient contentment. Many of us believe that we need to be different, better, more successful, more attractive in order to be happy. This constant pressure to improve or change ourselves keeps us in a state of discontent. However, when we learn to accept ourselves as we are, with all our imperfections, we release the need to constantly strive for some future version of ourselves. We begin to understand that we are worthy of contentment just as we are, and this acceptance brings a profound sense of peace. True contentment is a state of being that doesn't depend on external factors. It's not about having everything we want, it's about realizing that we are already whole, regardless of what we have or don't have. It is self-sufficient because it is not rooted in things that change or fade. Instead, it comes from within, from a deep sense of inner peace, acceptance, and gratitude. When we cultivate this kind of contentment, we are no longer at the mercy of life's ups and downs. We become grounded in a sense of completeness that nothing outside of ourselves can take away. Speech is one of the most powerful tools we possess, enabling us to communicate, express emotions, and share ideas. It shapes our relationships, influences perceptions, and drives social change. Yet, as powerful as speech can be, it is not always a necessity. In fact, speech, when used mindlessly or excessively, can sometimes diminish the very impact we seek. When we learn to understand speech as a tool rather than a necessity, we gain control over our words, becoming more intentional and deliberate in their use. This approach can lead to deeper connections, greater clarity, and more profound influence in our lives. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that communication primarily happens through words. We speak to fill silence, to explain ourselves, to connect with others. However, we often fail to recognize the value of silence and the energy that lies in withholding speech. Silence has its own power, and when we learn to embrace it, we begin to realize that not everything needs to be said. Often the most meaningful connections, moments of understanding, and reflections occur in the spaces between words. Speech, when overused or misused, can dilute its own power. Consider how we sometimes speak impulsively, filling the air with words that serve no real purpose. We may talk about our plans or dreams before they are fully formed, seeking validation or approval from others. Or we may speak out of a need to control a situation or influence an outcome, only to realize that the more we say, the less we are truly heard. In these instances, words become noise rather than meaningful communication. Instead of using speech to deepen our connections or advance our goals, we scatter our energy and reduce our impact. When we treat speech as a tool, we become selective about when and how we use it. Like any tool, words should be wielded with intention and precision. This doesn't mean we become silent or aloof, but rather that we become mindful of what we say and why we say it. Before speaking, we can ask ourselves, what is my intention here? Is my speech necessary in this moment? Am I adding value, or am I speaking out of habit, insecurity, or a desire for attention? By reflecting on these questions, we can avoid unnecessary speech and ensure that our words carry more weight when we do choose to speak. Moreover, speech is only one form of communication. Non-verbal cues such as body language, facial expressions, and eye contact often convey more than words ever could. In many cases, what is left unsaid speaks louder than the words themselves. So, for instance, a compassionate look, a supportive touch, or simply being present with someone can communicate understanding and empathy far more powerfully than any spoken reassurance. When we view speech as just one of many tools in our communication toolbox, we open ourselves to the richness of these other forms of expression. In relationships, the art of using speech wisely can transform the way we connect with others. We often feel the need to explain ourselves, justify our actions, or offer advice when someone shares their struggles with us. However, in many cases, listening in silence can be far more powerful than offering words. When we hold space for someone without feeling the need to fill it with our own thoughts or solutions, we allow them the freedom to process their emotions, come to their own insights, and feel truly heard. Speech, in these moments, becomes unnecessary, and silence serves as a profound tool for connection. In the realm of personal growth and self-awareness, learning when to speak and when to remain silent can be transformative. Mindful speech encourages us to slow down and reflect before expressing our thoughts, leading to greater clarity and authenticity. At the same time, silence allows us to listen more deeply, not just to others, but to ourselves. In moments of stillness, we can connect with our inner wisdom, gaining insights that might have been drowned out by the noise of constant talking. When we stop feeling the need to speak all the time, we create space for deeper self-reflection and personal growth. In conclusion, speech is a powerful tool, but it's not always a necessity. By recognizing the value of silence and using our words with intention, we can communicate more effectively, connect more deeply, and conserve our energy for moments when our words truly matter. Speech, when used mindfully, becomes a tool for clarity, influence, and authentic connection, while silence allows us to listen, reflect, and grow. By mastering the balance between speech and silence, we enhance the quality of our relationships and our und. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine for a moment that your life is not simply a series of random events, but a carefully orchestrated play, a reflection of your deepest beliefs, thoughts, and desires. You are not here by accident. Each experience, each challenge, and each triumph is the universe's way of guiding you toward your true potential. Imagine the world around you as a giant mirror, one that reflects not just your physical presence, but the sum total of your inner beliefs, thoughts, and feelings. Everything you see, experience, and encounter is not a random occurrence, it is a direct reflection of what you hold within. This understanding forms the foundation of how the universe operates in relation to you. It is not a separate entity working outside of your control. Rather, it is an intimate and responsive extension of your internal world. The universe reflects what you believe, and this reflection determines the course of your life. Your beliefs are like the lens through which you perceive reality. If you believe the world is a place of scarcity and struggle, you will encounter situations that confirm this belief. You will attract challenges that reinforce the idea that success is difficult to achieve, that opportunities are hard to come by, and that you must fight for what you want. On the other hand, if you shift your belief to one of abundance, you will begin to notice doors opening effortlessly, resources flowing to you, and opportunities appearing without struggle. The change in your outer circumstances may seem magical, but in truth, it is simply the universe reflecting the shift in your inner state. It's important to recognize that this reflection is impartial. The universe does not judge your beliefs or determine whether they are good or bad, right or wrong. It simply reflects them. This means that you are not a victim of circumstance, but an active creator of your reality. If you want to change what you experience in life, the first step is to change what you believe. Many people attempt to alter their external situations without addressing the underlying beliefs that created those situations in the first place. They may change jobs, move to a new city, or end a relationship, only to find themselves facing the same problems again. This is because they have not shifted the internal beliefs that are being reflected in their outer world. To truly understand how the universe reflects your beliefs, consider this: every experience you have, whether pleasant or painful, is a mirror showing you something about your internal state. If you are facing repeated frustrations, setbacks, or disappointments, it is likely that there is an underlying belief creating that pattern. Perhaps you believe that life is hard, that good things don't last, or that you're not deserving of success. These beliefs, whether conscious or subconscious, act like a magnet, drawing to you experiences that confirm them. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, will continue to reflect these beliefs back to you until you recognize them and make a conscious effort to change them. Once you understand this, you begin to see that everything happening in your life is an opportunity for growth. Instead of blaming external circumstances or feeling powerless, you can take responsibility for your beliefs and make the necessary shifts. When you start to change the way you think and feel about yourself and the world, the universe responds accordingly. It is like tuning a radio to a different frequency. When you change the station, you receive a different signal. Similarly, when you change your beliefs, you attract a different reality. This process is not always immediate. There may be a time lag between shifting your inner state and seeing the changes in your outer world. This is where faith and persistence come into play. You must hold on to your new beliefs, even when your external circumstances have not yet caught up. The universe is always working behind the scenes, rearranging events, people, and opportunities to match your new internal state. Trust that the reflection will come in due time, and remain steadfast in your belief. One of the most profound aspects of this concept is that it puts the power back into your hands. You are no longer at the mercy of fate or external forces. You are the creator of your reality, and the universe is your mirror. This understanding allows you to consciously choose the beliefs that will shape your life. Do you want to experience more love, abundance, and joy? Then begin by believing that you are deserving of these things. Do you wish to overcome fear and doubt? Then cultivate beliefs of confidence, trust, and faith. When you change the beliefs you hold within, the universe has no choice but to reflect those changes in your outer world. It is a law as certain as gravity. What you believe, you become, and what you become, you attract. Life does not happen to you, it happens through you. And the universe is your constant companion, reflecting back to you the truth of your inner world. The universe is always reflecting what you believe. If you are conscious of your beliefs, you can consciously create the reality you desire. By aligning your inner world with the desires of your heart, you become a magnet for experiences that are in harmony with your true self. And as the universe reflects this back to you, your life becomes a living testament to the power of belief. The power of imagination is one of the most profound and transformative forces available to each of us. It is in our imagination that we can shape our desires, create possibilities, and plant the seeds of our future. Yet, imagining alone is not enough to bring about the fulfillment of those desires. It is persistence in imagination, continuously holding on to the vision of what we want, even in the face of contrary external circumstances, that leads to true manifestation and fulfillment. Imagination is the creative act that begins in the mind. When we imagine something, we bring it into being in the realm of thought. This is the first step in creation. but it is only the beginning. Often we allow the outer world, with its current limitations and challenges, to dampen our inner visions. We give up too easily on the desires we once felt so strongly, thinking that because they haven't yet appeared in physical reality, they are unattainable or unrealistic. But the truth is, the outer world is always a reflection of our inner state, and it takes time for the physical world to catch up with the changes we make internally. This is where persistence comes into play. To persist in imagination means to hold steadfastly to the vision of your desire, even when there is no evidence of its arrival in your present reality. It means to believe in your heart that what you imagine is not just a fantasy, but a future reality that is in the process of becoming. When you persist in imagining, you are engaging in a quiet but powerful form of faith that the universe is arranging circumstances, opportunities, and events in alignment with the vision you hold. Persistence is the bridge between imagination and fulfillment. Without it, the seeds of your desires will not have time to grow. Imagine a gardener who plants seeds in the ground but digs them up each day to check on their progress. The seeds would never have the chance to sprout, much less bear fruit. In the same way, if you plant the seed of a desire in your imagination but constantly waver in your belief, the energy needed to bring it into form becomes scattered. Persistence allows the seed to stay rooted, even when you cannot yet see its growth. Another important aspect of persistence in imagination is emotional alignment. When you persist in imagining, it's not just about repeating mental images or affirmations. You must also feel the emotions that would accompany the fulfillment of your desire. If you can consistently feel the joy, gratitude, and excitement of having what you want, you are effectively aligning yourself with the vibration of that reality. This emotional alignment is what draws the fulfillment of your desire into your experience. By feeling as though it is already done, you are signaling to the universe that you are ready to receive. In the process of persisting in imagination, challenges will inevitably arise. The outer world may present you with obstacles, delays, or situations that seem to contradict your desires. This is where many people falter, interpreting these temporary setbacks as signs that their vision is not meant to be. But these moments are tests of your persistence. The universe often brings challenges as a way to strengthen your resolve and clarify your desires. If you can persist in your imagination through these trials, you will emerge with a clearer vision and an even stronger belief in its fulfillment. The power of imagination is most effective when coupled with action, but not the kind of action that comes from forcing or striving. Instead, it is inspired action that flows naturally and effortlessly as a result of your persistent imagination. When you persist in imagining the life you want, opportunities and ideas will begin to emerge, seemingly out of nowhere. These moments of inspiration are the universe's way of guiding you toward the fulfillment of your desire. At this point, taking action becomes easy because it feels right. You are no longer pushing against the current, but flowing with it. Fulfillment then is not a matter of chance or luck, but the inevitable result of sustained focus and belief. When you persist in imagining, you are creating a blueprint in the unseen world, and the universe, ever responsive to your thoughts and feelings, will begin to fill in the details. It may not happen overnight, and it may not unfold exactly as you envisioned, but persistence ensures that your desires will take shape in some form. Often the end result will exceed your original expectations because persistence allows for growth, refinement, and the attraction of even greater possibilities. Persistence in imagination is not a passive process. It requires faith, emotional alignment, and the ability to hold on to your vision even in the face of doubt or delay. It is through this persistence that the gap between thought and reality is bridged. As you continue to imagine your desires with conviction, knowing that they are already yours in essence, the universe will respond in ways that bring those desires into fulfillment. Keep imagining, keep believing, and know that with persistence all things are possible. Peace in the present moment is one of the most powerful states of being a person can achieve. It is a state of inner calm and acceptance that transcends the external circumstances of life, allowing us to navigate through challenges and uncertainties with grace and clarity. While many of us seek peace through the resolution of problems or the attainment of goals, true peace is not something that comes from the outside world. It is cultivated within, by aligning ourselves with the present moment and letting go of the need to control or change it. At its core, peace in the present moment is about acceptance. Acceptance does not mean giving up or resigning to a situation, but rather acknowledging the reality of what is, without resistance or judgment. Most of our inner turmoil arises not from the events of life themselves, but from our resistance to them. We create mental narratives about how things should be, and when life doesn't match these expectations, we feel frustrated, anxious, or discontent. The more we try to force life into our preconceived notions, the more we disrupt our peace. To find peace in the present moment, we must first become aware of our attachment to outcomes. Often we place our happiness in some future event, believing that once a certain goal is achieved or a problem is resolved, then we can relax and be at peace. But this mindset keeps us perpetually in a state of waiting, always reaching for a moment that never arrives because there is always something else to chase. Peace in the present moment requires letting go of the idea that we need something external to feel complete. It asks us to recognize that peace is available to us right now, in this very moment, regardless of what is happening around us. One of the greatest barriers to peace is our tendency to dwell on the past or worry about the future. We replay past mistakes or painful memories in our minds, or we anxiously anticipate what might go wrong in the future. Both of these mental habits pull us away from the present moment, where peace is always available. The present moment is the only time that truly exists. The past is gone, and the future has not yet come. By grounding ourselves in the now, we release the grip of regret and fear, opening ourselves to the serenity that is found in simply being. Mindfulness is a powerful practice for cultivating peace in the present moment. Mindfulness means bringing our full attention to what is happening right now, without judgment or distraction. Whether we are washing dishes, walking in nature, or sitting in meditation, mindfulness invites us to engage fully with the experience at hand. Through mindfulness, we begin to notice the subtle beauty and richness of each moment, which is often overlooked when we are lost in thought or worry. This practice allows us to connect more deeply with ourselves and the world around us, fostering a sense of peace that is not dependent on circumstances. It's also important to cultivate gratitude as a pathway to peace. When we focus on what we have in this moment, instead of what we lack, our perception shifts from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude anchors us in the present, reminding us of the blessings that already surround us. Even in difficult times, there is always something to be grateful for, whether it's the breath in our lungs, the support of loved ones, or the beauty of nature. Gratitude helps to quiet the restless mind and bring us into a state of appreciation, which naturally fosters peace. Peace in the present moment is also about self-compassion. It's about being kind to ourselves, especially when life feels chaotic or overwhelming. Too often, we are our own harshest critics, constantly pushing ourselves to be better, do more, and achieve perfection. But true peace comes from embracing ourselves as we are, with all our imperfections and flaws. When we can extend compassion to ourselves, we are better able to navigate life's challenges without being consumed by self-doubt or criticism. Peace in the present moment is not a distant goal to be achieved after everything in life falls into place. It is a state of being that we can choose to cultivate right now, regardless of our circumstances. By practicing acceptance, mindfulness, trust, gratitude, and self-compassion, we can access a deep sense of peace that is always available to us in the present. This peace, once found, becomes a guiding light that allows us to move through life with greater ease, resilience, and joy.
There is a profound transformation that occurs when doubts and fears dissolve. This shift does not happen overnight, but it is unmistakable when it does. Doubts and fears are natural emotions that we all experience. They arise from uncertainty, past experiences, and the stories we tell ourselves about what is possible. They are the barriers that stand between where we are and where we want to be. When these doubts and fears are no longer present, the world opens up in ways that previously seemed unimaginable. life flows more easily, and we move through it with a sense of freedom and confidence. The resolution of doubts and fears begins with self-awareness. Many of us are not fully conscious of the doubts and fears that govern our lives because they often operate beneath the surface. They show up in subtle ways through hesitation, procrastination, or avoidance. We might want to pursue a dream or take a leap of faith, but something holds us back. A quiet voice that questions whether we're good enough or if things will work out as we hope. This voice of doubt can be so pervasive that we come to accept it as a normal part of life, unaware that it is limiting us. To dissolve doubts and fears, we must first bring them into the light of awareness. This means recognizing the thoughts and feelings that create them. Often, doubts stem from beliefs we have adopted over time, either from our upbringing, past failures, or societal conditioning. These beliefs shape the way we view ourselves in the world. For instance, we may believe that we are not capable of success, that failure is something to fear, or that we must live up to others' expectations. Once we become aware of these limiting beliefs, we can begin the process of questioning them and replacing them with more empowering ones. The dissolution of doubt is rooted in trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in the process of life, and trust in the universe. When we doubt, we are essentially questioning whether we have the power to achieve what we desire or whether the universe will support us. But when we shift our mindset to one of trust, doubt loses its grip. Trust means believing that we are capable, that we are deserving of good things, and that the universe is working with us, not against us. This trust doesn't come from blind faith. It comes from recognizing that life is constantly evolving and we are part of that evolution. Fear, like doubt, often arises from the unknown. We fear what we cannot see or predict, worrying about potential failure, rejection, or disappointment. Fear is a natural response to uncertainty, but it becomes a problem when it paralyzes us, keeping us from taking action or moving forward. To dissolve fear, we must confront it directly. This doesn't mean eliminating all feelings of fear, but rather learning to move through fear with courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act in spite of it. When we face our fears and take action, even when we're scared, we build resilience. Over time, the fears that once seemed insurmountable begin to fade away. One of the most effective ways to dissolve fear is to reframe it. Instead of seeing fear as a sign that something is wrong, we can view it as a signal that we are growing and expanding beyond our comfort zone. Fear often arises when we are about to step into something new or unfamiliar. In this way, fear can be seen as an indicator that we are on the right path. When we embrace fear instead of running from it, we find that it has less power over us. It no longer controls our actions, and we can move forward with greater confidence. The process of dissolving doubts and fears also involves letting go of control. Much of our doubt and fear stems from our desire to control outcomes. We want to know exactly how things will turn out, and when we can't see the full picture, we become anxious. But life is inherently unpredictable, and part of dissolving doubt and fear is learning to surrender to the flow of life. This doesn't mean we stop setting goals or making plans, but it does mean releasing our attachment to specific outcomes. When we let go of the need to control, we allow space for possibilities we might not have imagined. As doubts and fears dissolve, we experience a new sense of clarity and freedom. Decisions that once felt difficult or anxiety-provoking become effortless. We trust ourselves to handle whatever comes our way, knowing that we are supported by something greater than ourselves. This clarity allows us to move forward with purpose, unburdened by the weight of second-guessing or hesitation. To the absence of doubt and fear, life becomes a playground of possibilities. We approach challenges with a sense of curiosity rather than dread, and we view setbacks as opportunities for growth rather than as failures. This shift in perspective opens up new doors and aligns us more fully with our true potential. When doubts and fears dissolve, we step into a state of flow where we are no longer resisting life but actively co-creating with it. In this state, fulfillment becomes not just a possibility, but a natural outcome of living authentically and without fear. Synchronicities are often described as meaningful coincidences that seem to occur with a purpose. They are those serendipitous moments when you encounter a symbol, a person, or an event that feels perfectly aligned with your current thoughts, desires, or challenges. These occurrences can spark a sense of wonder and affirmation, making us feel that we are on the right path. While they may seem random at first glance, synchronicities serve as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all things and the guidance available to us when we are open to receiving it. The concept of synchronicity was popularized by the psychologist Carl Jung, who believed these events held deep significance in our lives. He suggested that synchronicities arise from the collective unconscious, a realm of shared symbols and meanings that connect all of humanity. When we experience synchronicity, it's as if the universe is communicating with us, providing subtle nudges or confirmations that we are aligned with our true purpose. These moments can serve as affirmations that we are not alone in our journey. Rather, we are supported by a larger unseen force that guides us. Recognizing synchronicities requires a willingness to be present and aware. In our fast-paced lives, it's easy to overlook these small miracles, dismissing them as mere coincidences. However, when we cultivate mindfulness, we become more attuned to the subtleties of our experiences. This heightened awareness allows us to notice the signs and symbols that are always present, waiting for us to connect the dots. Being open to synchronicities involves tuning into our intuition and following those gut feelings that urge us to explore new opportunities or relationships. As we navigate through life, we often face crossroads or challenging decisions that can lead us to question our path. In these moments of uncertainty, synchronicities can provide the clarity we seek. For example, you may find that a book you picked up randomly resonates with your current situation, offering insights or solutions to your problem. Alternatively, you might run into an old friend who provides a perspective you hadn't considered, helping you to see your situation in a new light. These experiences remind us that the universe is continually orchestrating events to guide us toward our highest good. Synchronicities can also reinforce the idea that we are on the right track. Imagine you are contemplating a major life change, such as switching careers or moving to a new city. As you ponder your options, you suddenly come across a series of signs, a job posting that aligns perfectly with your skills, an article discussing the benefits of relocation, or a conversation with someone who has made a similar move. These coincidences can serve as confirmations that the changes you are considering are in alignment with your true desires and purpose. It's essential to understand that synchronicities do not imply a lack of effort or responsibility. While they may seem like a magical occurrence, they often arise when we are actively engaged in pursuing our goals or seeking personal growth. When we take steps toward our desires, whether through meditation, self-reflection, or action, the universe responds by providing the support we need. In this way, synchronicities are a collaboration between our efforts and the flow of the universe. Believing in synchronicity can also deepen our sense of connection to the world around us. When we acknowledge these meaningful coincidences, we begin to see life as a tapestry woven together by our thoughts, actions, and interactions. This perspective fosters a sense of gratitude and wonder, reminding us that we are part of something larger than ourselves. We come to understand that every person we meet and every experience we have holds potential significance, leading us to the next step on our journey. To fully embrace synchronicity, it is essential to maintain an open heart and mind. Trusting in the process means letting go of rigid expectations and allowing life to unfold as it is meant to. When we become overly attached to specific outcomes, we may miss the signs that could lead us in a different, perhaps more rewarding direction. By remaining flexible and receptive, we create space for the unexpected to enter our lives. Moreover, documenting synchronicities can be a powerful practice. Keeping a journal to record these meaningful events helps us recognize patterns and themes over time. By reflecting on these occurrences, we can gain insights into our personal growth and the lessons being offered. This practice reinforces our belief in the universe's guidance and encourages us to stay attuned to the signs that affirm our path. Synchronicities are a beautiful and affirming aspect of our journey through life. They remind us that we are not alone and that the universe is continually supporting us in our pursuit of fulfillment and purpose. By cultivating awareness, embracing openness, and trusting the flow of life, we can recognize and appreciate the meaningful coincidences that guide us on our unique path. As we navigate our journey, these moments of synchronicity can serve as beacons of hope, confirming that we are indeed moving in the right direction and that our dreams and aspirations are within reach. Gratitude is a transformative practice that holds immense power in the process of manifestation. It is easy to express gratitude once our desires are fulfilled, but true mastery lies in cultivating gratitude before the manifestation occurs. This approach shifts our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance, aligning us with the vibrational frequency necessary to attract what we desire into our lives. By embracing gratitude before the manifestation, we create a fertile ground for our intentions to blossom. The essence of gratitude lies in its ability to redirect our focus. When we are grateful, we shift our attention from what we lack to what we already have. This shift is critical in the manifestation process because it enables us to adopt a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. In a state of scarcity, we may find ourselves caught in a cycle of wanting, longing, and disappointment. However, when we practice gratitude, we begin to recognize the many blessings that surround us. No matter how small they may seem, this acknowledgement helps us cultivate a sense of fulfillment in the present moment, which is a powerful attractor for future abundance. When we express gratitude before our desires manifest, we are signaling to the universe that we are ready to receive. This readiness is rooted in the belief that what we desire is already on its way to us. By acting as if our desires have already been fulfilled, we align ourselves with the frequency of our aspirations. This alignment is essential because like attracts like. When we vibrate at a frequency of gratitude and abundance, we attract experiences and opportunities that resonate with that frequency. Our thoughts and feelings become magnetic, drawing to us the very things we wish to manifest. Thank you for being present today and for your openness to explore these transformative ideas. May we all continue to cultivate gratitude and trust as we manifest our dreams and navigate the beautiful journey of life.
There is a quiet magic that exists in the early morning hours, a time when the world is still and the noise of the day has not yet begun to stir. Imagine rising at 5 a.m., not because you are forced to, but because you have chosen to greet the day on your own terms. In those early moments, the power of intention is revealed, and you become the master of your destiny. The power of intentionality is one of the most profound forces in shaping our lives, yet it often goes unnoticed in the busyness of daily existence. To live with intention means to consciously choose the direction of our actions, thoughts, and energy, rather than allowing ourselves to be swept along by the current of circumstance or external demands. This act of conscious choice is not merely a motivational slogan, but a deeply transformative practice that influences how we experience life and manifest our desires. At its core, intentionality is the deliberate alignment of our inner world with the outcomes we wish to create in the outer world. It begins in the quiet moments, often when the world is still, and grows stronger with practice, becoming a compass that guides us through the complex terrain of life. Consider the experience of waking up early in the morning. The world is still quiet, the day has not yet begun, and you have a precious window of time to reflect, plan, and set the tone for everything that follows. When you wake up at 5 a.m. with intention, you are making a conscious decision to take control of the day before it takes control of you. You are choosing not to let circumstances dictate your actions, but to be the one who dictates how your time, energy, and attention are used. This is the essence of intentionality: deliberate, purposeful action that sets you on a path toward your goals and vision, rather than reacting passively to the demands of life. When you approach your day with intention, you are not just engaging in tasks or meeting obligations. You are actively creating the conditions that support your desired outcomes. This shift in mindset from being a passive observer to an active creator changes everything. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by an endless to-do list, you begin to see your tasks as steps towards something greater, an opportunity to bring your goals and aspirations into reality. Every small action, every decision becomes part of a larger design, moving you closer to the life you want to live. Intentionality also creates a sense of clarity and focus that is otherwise difficult to achieve. In a world filled with distractions, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. Without intention, we often find ourselves spending time on things that do not align with our values or long-term goals, simply because they are urgent or demanding in the moment. But when you live with intention, you can distinguish between what is essential and what is merely a distraction. You know where to direct your attention, and more importantly, where not to waste it. This clarity allows you to make better decisions, avoid unnecessary stress, and stay aligned with your true priorities. Living with intentionality is also deeply empowering because it shifts the locus of control back to you. When you live reactively, constantly responding to external forces, you give away your power. You become subject to the whims of others, the pressures of deadlines, and the randomness of circumstances. But when you live intentionally, you reclaim your ability to direct your life. You are no longer a victim of circumstance, but the architect of your own destiny. Each day becomes an opportunity to move deliberately toward your goals, to shape your environment in ways that support your growth, and to align your inner state with the outcomes you wish to see in the world. This sense of empowerment also extends to how you handle challenges. Intentionality does not mean you will never face difficulties or obstacles, but it changes how you respond to them. Instead of being thrown off course by setbacks, you approach them with a sense of purpose and resilience. Challenges become opportunities for growth rather than barriers to success. When you are grounded in intention, you are less likely to be derailed by temporary setbacks, because you have a clear vision of where you are going and why. The path may shift, but the destination remains the same. Intentionality also fosters a deeper sense of fulfillment and meaning in everyday life. When you are intentional, even the smallest tasks can become meaningful because they are part of a larger purpose. Whether it's a mundane chore or a significant project, everything you do is connected to a greater vision. This sense of purpose transforms even the most ordinary moments into opportunities for growth, contribution, and personal fulfillment. Life no longer feels like a series of disconnected events, but a coherent, purposeful journey towards something greater. The power of intentionality is not just about achieving success or reaching goals. It is about how you live each day, how you approach each moment with mindfulness and purpose. It is about aligning your actions with your values, your thoughts with your desires, and your energy with the life you want to create. By living with intention, you harness the creative force within you, and each day becomes an opportunity to shape your world according to your highest vision. Mental clarity and focus are two of the most vital qualities one can cultivate for a fulfilling and productive life. In a world where distractions are endless and demands on our attention are constant, maintaining clarity and focus is no easy task. However, when we manage to cultivate these traits, the impact on our work, relationships, and personal growth can be profound. Clarity refers to the ability to see things as they truly are, without the fog of confusion or indecision. Focus, on the other hand, is the discipline of directing our attention fully to a single point, allowing us to make meaningful progress without being derailed by competing demands. Together, mental clarity and focus form the foundation for deep work, creative thinking, and personal mastery. One of the most immediate benefits of mental clarity is its capacity to help us prioritize what truly matters. When the mind is clear, we can easily distinguish between what is important and what is merely noise. This distinction is crucial because without clarity, we often find ourselves overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information, tasks, and responsibilities we face each day. Without a clear mind, even simple decisions can become paralyzing. We waste time and energy debating trivial matters, constantly shifting our attention from one thing to another without ever fully committing to a course of action. But with clarity, we can cut through this chaos and focus our energy where it counts. We see the bigger picture and understand which tasks are essential for our long-term success and fulfillment, and which can be set aside or delegated. Then, focus, when paired with clarity, becomes a powerful tool for achieving our goals. In a state of focus, distractions fall away, and our mind is fully engaged with the task at hand. This single-minded attention allows us to work more efficiently, achieve better results, and experience the satisfaction of being fully absorbed in what we are doing. Focus is not just about working harder, it is about working smarter. When we concentrate our efforts on one thing at a time, we enter a state of flow, a mental state where time seems to fade away, and we perform at our best. This deep focus is where some of our greatest work emerges, whether in the form of creative breakthroughs, solving complex problems, or pushing through difficult challenges. Mental clarity and focus also play a critical role in decision-making. When our minds are clear, we can assess situations more objectively and make choices based on logic and insight rather than fear or confusion. This is particularly important in high-pressure situations, where the ability to make quick, accurate decisions is essential. A clear mind sees the essential facts and discards irrelevant details, allowing us to act with confidence. In contrast, when our mind is clouded with distractions or negative emotions, we are more likely to make impulsive or poorly thought-out decisions that we later regret. Clarity enables us to pause, reflect, and choose the best course of action from a place of wisdom and understanding. Another significant benefit of mental clarity is the reduction of stress and anxiety. Much of the stress we experience comes from feeling overwhelmed, uncertain, or out of control. When our mind is cluttered with too many thoughts or distractions, everything feels urgent, and we lose our sense of perspective. Clarity restores that perspective. It allows us to take a step back, see the situation for what it is, and address it with calmness and precision. Instead of being reactive, constantly putting out fires, we become proactive, dealing with challenges in a methodical and thoughtful manner. This shift from chaos to clarity brings with it a profound sense of peace and control over our lives. Cultivating mental clarity and focus requires discipline and practice. It is not something that happens by accident, especially in a world designed to fragment our attention. The practice of mindfulness, for example, is a powerful tool for developing these qualities. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts without getting caught up in them, to recognize when we are distracted, and to gently bring our attention back to the present moment. Over time, this practice sharpens our awareness and strengthens our ability to focus on what is important, even in the face of distractions. Another key to maintaining mental clarity and focus is creating an environment that supports these states. Our surroundings play a huge role in how well we are able to concentrate. A cluttered or chaotic environment can contribute to a cluttered mind, whereas a clean, organized space promotes calm and focus. Similarly, reducing digital distractions, such as limiting time spent on social media or turning off non-essential notifications, can help us reclaim our attention and direct it toward more meaningful pursuits. Physical health also plays a role in mental clarity and focus. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, and proper nutrition all contribute to a sharp and focused mind. When our body is well cared for, our mental faculties are stronger, and we are better equipped to handle challenges with clarity and resilience. Mental clarity and focus are not just about productivity, they are about living with intention and purpose. A clear mind allows us to navigate life's complexities with grace and wisdom, while focus empowers us to bring our goals and dreams into reality. By cultivating these qualities, we gain the ability to live more fully, work more effectively, and experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and peace in our everyday lives. Alignment with natural rhythms is one of the most powerful ways to harmonize your life and well-being. Nature operates according to cycles and rhythms: the rising and setting of the sun, the phases of the moon, the changing seasons, and the ebb and flow of tides. Our bodies, too, are intricately connected to these patterns through circadian rhythms, which regulate everything from our sleep-wake cycles to our metabolism. By aligning ourselves with these natural rhythms, we can tap into a deeper sense of balance, energy, and flow, rather than constantly battling against the forces of nature. When we tune into these rhythms, life becomes more harmonious, and our energy, health, and productivity are optimized. One of the most fundamental natural rhythms is the cycle of day and night. Our ancestors lived in accordance with these rhythms, rising with the sun and resting when it set. Today, however, modern life often pulls us out of sync with this natural cycle. Artificial lighting, late-night work, and the constant stimulation of technology extend our waking hours far beyond what nature intended. This disruption can lead to imbalances in our physical and mental health, including poor sleep, low energy, and increased stress. By realigning ourselves with the natural rhythm of the day, we can restore a sense of equilibrium. This may mean rising earlier, ideally with the sun, and winding down in the evening, allowing our bodies to naturally transition to rest as night falls. Rising early in the morning, around 5 a.m., allows us to tap into a unique energy that exists at that time of day. Before the world fully awakens, the air feels quieter, and there's a stillness that fosters clarity and creativity. This is when the mind is most refreshed and receptive, unburdened by the distractions and chaos that tend to accumulate throughout the day. Many people find that they are able to focus better, think more clearly, and approach their work or personal goals with greater intention during these early hours. In fact, early morning hours are often referred to as the golden hours, because of their potent ability to set a positive tone for the entire day. Another natural rhythm that plays a significant role in our well-being is the cycle of the seasons. Each season brings with it a different energy and set of qualities that can influence how we feel and function. For example, spring is a time of renewal, growth, and fresh beginnings. It's a time to plant seeds both literally and metaphorically and focus on new projects or aspirations. Summer, with its longer days and warmer temperatures, is a time of high energy, social activity, and outward expression. It's often the most productive season, as we naturally feel more active and engaged. As the year moves into autumn, the energy begins to shift toward introspection, harvest, and reflection. This is a time to gather the fruits of our labor, review what we've accomplished, and prepare for the slower, more contemplative energy of winter. Winter itself is a season of rest, restoration, and deep reflection. It's a time to slow down, conserve energy, and nurture the inner self. By aligning ourselves with these seasonal rhythms, we can live in greater harmony with the natural flow of energy around us. Instead of pushing ourselves to maintain the same level of activity year-round, we can honor the need for periods of growth and rest, just as nature does. In addition to daily and seasonal rhythms, our bodies are also attuned to ultradian rhythms, which are shorter cycles that typically last 90 to 120 minutes. These cycles influence our focus, energy, and productivity throughout the day. We naturally go through periods of heightened focus and energy, followed by phases of lower energy and the need for rest. However, in our modern culture, we often push through these natural cycles, expecting ourselves to maintain constant focus and productivity. This can lead to burnout, exhaustion, and diminished performance. By recognizing and honoring these shorter rhythms, we can work more effectively. For example, after 90 minutes of focused work, it's beneficial to take a short break to recharge before diving back into another period of focus. The moon also exerts a subtle yet powerful influence over our lives. Throughout history, many cultures have recognized the moon's cyclical nature and its connection to human emotions, creativity, and intuition. The waxing and waning phases of the moon represent cycles of growth and release. The new moon, for instance, is an ideal time for setting intentions and beginning new projects, while the full moon represents a time of culmination, illumination, and harvest. By aligning our personal goals and actions with the phases of the moon, we can work in harmony with these natural forces, using them to support our own cycles of growth, creativity, and release. Aligning with natural rhythms requires a heightened awareness of the world around us and within us. It involves paying attention to the cues of nature in our bodies, rather than blindly adhering to the demands of modern society or rigid schedules. When we live in alignment with these rhythms, we experience greater balance, energy, and flow. Our bodies function optimally, our minds are clearer, and we feel more connected to the larger cycles of life. It's a reminder that we are not separate from nature, but deeply interconnected with it, and by attuning ourselves to its rhythms, we can live a more harmonious and fulfilling life. The law of first impression is a principle that highlights the significance of how we begin anything, whether it's a conversation, a task, or a day. It teaches us that the way we start sets the tone for everything that follows. This concept is grounded in the understanding that our initial actions, thoughts, and feelings create a momentum that carries through the entire experience. Just as the first few moments of meeting someone can shape their perception of us, the way we begin our day shapes how the rest of it unfolds. The law of first impression emphasizes the importance of being intentional about how we begin, as this influences not only our external outcomes but also our internal state. Imagine waking up in the morning. The first thoughts you entertain, the first actions you take, and the mood you choose to set create a ripple effect that defines the rest of your day. If you start with a sense of calm, purpose, and focus, you are more likely to carry that energy into everything you do. On the other hand, if your day begins with chaos, anxiety, or distraction, it becomes difficult to shake off that energy, and it colors the rest of your experiences. This is why many successful people emphasize the importance of a morning routine that includes activities like meditation, exercise, or journaling. These activities help establish a positive first impression on the day, aligning your mindset with productivity, peace, and clarity. The law of first impression can also be seen in how we approach tasks or projects. When we begin a new project, the energy and attitude we bring to those first few moments are critical. If we start with focus and enthusiasm, we are more likely to maintain momentum and make meaningful progress. Conversely, if we begin half-heartedly or with hesitation, that lack of commitment often bleeds into the rest of the work. This is why it's so important to begin anything with clear intention and purpose. The initial energy sets the tone, making it easier to sustain motivation and engagement over time. This principle extends beyond individual tasks to how we interact with others. The first impression we make on people can leave a lasting impact. When we meet someone for the first time, their perception of us is often shaped within the first few minutes, if not seconds. This initial interaction influences how they interpret everything that follows. If we come across as confident, kind, and genuine, we create a positive impression that makes it easier to build rapport and trust. On the other hand, if we are dismissive, distracted, or unkind, it becomes much harder to change that perception later, even if our intentions were misunderstood. The law of first impression is not just about how others perceive us, it's also about how we perceive ourselves. The way we start something, whether it's a day, a task, or a conversation, shapes our own internal dialogue. If we begin our day by affirming our goals and setting a positive tone, we reinforce our sense of capability and purpose. This self-perception carries throughout the day, influencing our confidence and decision-making. In contrast, starting the day in a state of overwhelm or negativity can lead to self-doubt and indecision, which can hinder our ability to perform at our best. Moreover, the law of first impression is closely tied to the concept of momentum. Just as the first few steps of a race can set the pace for the entire event, the initial moments of any endeavor create a momentum that can either propel us forward or hold us back. This momentum is psychological as well as physical. When we start something with energy and focus, it's easier to keep going, to build on that energy, and to achieve our goals. However, if we start with procrastination or lack of direction, we lose valuable time and energy trying to get back on track. The momentum we create in the beginning often determines how easy or difficult it will be to reach the finish line. Another important aspect of the law of first impression is that it teaches us the value of preparation. The more prepared we are for how we begin something, the better the impression we will make both on ourselves and others. Preparation allows us to start with confidence and clarity, which makes it easier to stay focused and avoid distractions. Whether it's preparing for a presentation, a meeting, or even just the day ahead, taking time to set intentions and gather resources ensures that we start strong and stay on course. The law of first impression reminds us that beginnings matter. How we start anything has a profound impact on the rest of the experience. Whether we are starting a new day, meeting someone for the first time, or beginning a new project, the initial energy, attitude, and focus we bring shape the entire process. By being intentional about how we start, we can create a positive momentum that carries us towards success. The first impression, both in the external world and within our own minds, has lasting power, and when we learn to harness it, we unlock a key to greater productivity, fulfillment, and growth. Personal mastery through discipline is the process of refining oneself by cultivating habits, focus, and dedication. It is the journey of becoming the best version of yourself by consistently making choices that align with your highest aspirations and values. Discipline, often misunderstood as mere self-control or the suppression of desires, is actually the foundation for personal freedom and growth. It is the ability to prioritize long-term goals over short-term gratifications, to take consistent action even when motivation wanes, and to remain focused on what truly matters in the face of distractions. Personal mastery, therefore, is not an outcome or destination, it is a lifelong practice, a way of being that requires discipline to continually improve, evolve, and grow. At the heart of discipline is the understanding that mastery, in any area of life, is not achieved through sporadic bursts of effort but through steady, intentional practice. Whether the goal is to excel in a career, develop a skill, improve physical fitness, or enhance personal relationships, discipline is what enables us to show up consistently, even when the initial excitement has faded. The ability to stay committed to a task or a goal, despite challenges or setbacks, is what separates those who merely aspire to mastery from those who attain it. Discipline is the invisible force that turns intention into action and transforms dreams into reality. One of the most significant aspects of personal mastery through discipline is the development of self-awareness. Discipline is not about rigidly adhering to rules or routines. It is about understanding your own patterns, habits, and tendencies, and then using that awareness to make conscious choices that align with your goals. Self-awareness helps you recognize when you are veering off course, when distractions are pulling you away from your purpose, or when fear and procrastination are preventing you from taking the next step. Discipline allows you to make adjustments in real time, to correct course and stay aligned with your intentions, rather than allowing external circumstances or internal resistance to dictate your actions. Discipline also plays a crucial role in building resilience, the ability to endure challenges and setbacks without giving up. In any pursuit of mastery, obstacles are inevitable. There will be days when progress feels slow, when frustration sets in, or when it seems easier to quit than to keep going. It is discipline that helps you push through those moments, reminding you of the bigger picture, the long-term vision that motivated you to start in the first place. Resilience is not just about enduring hardships, it is about staying committed to the process, trusting that the effort you put in now will yield results over time. Discipline, then, is what builds the mental and emotional fortitude necessary to persevere in the face of adversity. Another critical aspect of personal mastery through discipline is the creation of structure. Discipline helps us establish routines, habits, and systems that support our growth. When we rely on willpower alone to achieve our goals, we often fall short because willpower is finite. However, when we develop disciplined habits, whether it's a morning routine, a regular exercise schedule, or time set aside for deep work, we create an environment that makes success inevitable. These structures eliminate decision fatigue, reduce the temptation to procrastinate, and ensure that we are making steady progress toward our goals, even when motivation is lacking. In this way, discipline serves as a form of self-compassion, providing the framework we need to succeed rather than leaving our progress up to chance. Discipline also fosters a deep sense of personal integrity. When you commit to a goal and consistently take action toward it, you build trust in yourself. You prove to yourself that you can rely on your own ability to follow through, that your word holds weight. This self-trust is an essential component of personal mastery. It reinforces a sense of inner alignment, where your thoughts, words, and actions are congruent. Over time, this alignment enhances your confidence, enabling you to take on greater challenges and pursue higher levels of achievement, knowing that you have the discipline to see them through. Furthermore, personal mastery through discipline extends beyond individual pursuits. It also influences how we interact with others and the world around us. Discipline in personal development fosters discipline in how we communicate, lead, and contribute. Those who practice discipline are often seen as reliable, trustworthy, and consistent, qualities that inspire respect and admiration from others. Discipline allows us to show up fully in our relationships, honoring our commitments and being present for others, even when it's inconvenient or difficult. This sense of responsibility and reliability is a hallmark of personal mastery, as it demonstrates that you are not only focused on your own growth, but also on contributing to the well-being of those around you. Personal mastery through discipline is about creating a life that reflects your highest potential. It is the realization that true freedom comes not from doing whatever you want, whenever you want, but from having the self-discipline to pursue what truly matters to you, even when it's challenging. Mastery is not about perfection, it's about progress, about becoming more skilled, more aware, and more capable over time. Discipline is the vehicle that carries you along this path, ensuring that with each step, you are moving closer to the person you aspire to be. Through discipline, you unlock the ability to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and continual growth. In conclusion, waking up at 5 a.m. and starting your day with intentionality, clarity, and discipline can lead to profound personal transformation. By aligning with natural rhythms, tapping into the power of first impressions, and mastering yourself through consistent discipline, you set the foundation for a life of focus, productivity, and fulfillment. Each of these principles works together to create a mindset and lifestyle that supports not just success, but also inner peace and growth. Remember, the way you begin your day has the power to shape your entire life. Thank you for your time, and may you continue to rise each day with purpose and intention.